Crusader just pushed around the corner. It's overran. They had a larger tank force than us. I think they came a little bit more ready to fight.
Okay, I think.
Hey, there's a vehicle right there. Wait, I thought that was a tractor. It was painted like a tractor. I literally stared at it. I thought it was a.
And while I was taking hunt through Leighton Lakes,
You got a shot there? I'll back up. Machine gunner.
I happened to.
I'm watching to our right. You gotta keep fighting that stick. Another truck where? I see the mark, thank you.
Okay, so that's diamond. These are all diamonds. That's a diamond. That's diamond. That's diamond. And that's a diamond. Holy shit.
I see the mark to the right. There's something close. Stick to our right.
Okay, so I wanna.
There's a beast to the right. There's something approaching.
That's a piebald female.
I can hear it. It's speaking through the hedgerow. Stick, please.
I just want to put him right there, just in case. Yeah, this was an albino turkey.
Reverse is not the goal, Mike. No one swarm with me. I'm with you. I'm going now around the other way.
I don't remember killing
There's
this.
2 of them. Run, skip past. I got a loader on one.
Just don't remember it.
I'm gonna gnaw your face off. I got you for 5 minutes, big boy. Yeah, danger close. This is not good. I am walking hips with him. These hips do lie. You're not Shakira. They stick. Yeah. This one can still shoot. Oh, really? Yes. Oh, okay. Hold on. Okay. I'm trying to get the barrel in the. He's using his booty and he's pushing me around and I don't like it. I'm being taken off. T-34 in front, stick. Stick is gone. Stick, help. I'm being dragged off. In broken please. They bomb the ones in front of me first. This is not good. I'm not having a good time. Emergency coming. One in the air, low right. Diving fast. KV1, teammates, please help. I'm in danger. I just got shot from something else to my right beside me. Any bombs on me? Oh, this isn't good. KV1B is the steering. The KV1s are colluding. I'm gone. I'm gonna give all the secrets, all the state secrets, snitching. It's gonna happen. Words out. Thank you. One set. You're not following me directly.
We're heading back over to Rancho del Arroyo to finish off our whitetail. Apparently we can see if we can get any.
You see that tackle? I'm a football player.
Because diamonds are popping up everywhere. Like
your name and shot with my machine gun, hoping that I hit something. We are not taking A yet. There's something else here. Okay, guys. It's right in front of me, Panzer. Loader fuel tank is critical. Stay alive. I've got the ridge. Oh, I got him. Don't worry. Step out of the Panzer. Oh, hold on. Medium a little higher. We'll put that one right there. There we go. I punched his fuel ticket. One pushing there. Don't be worried about the planes flying over. No. Something touched me. I think it's from over here. Yeah, I saw it. I'm just trying to figure out what it is. Pile 2 lining up on you, Jeff. We did cap the point, though. Excuse me, big brother. Oh, hi, Chaffee. Hey, guys. It's a KV. No, it's an SMK. It's an SMK. You have an M10 to help you. Nice shot, Stick. I don't need no help. M10 may come in handy. I am the big brother who has come to save you. You're being bullied? Am I in danger? I don't think I'm in danger. I don't know. You speak like I'm in danger. Possibly you're in danger. This is the land where all the bad things happen. Yeah, but you realize that if you're not in danger... Oh, that's not... There's a martyr in front of me. Hey, Bo, you got shot? I got a scanner breach. You're all good. Was it the martyr that shot me? Yes, I think so. You know, I was working hard on that kill. He hurt me. I understand. You got your revenge. It would have looked as though Barry Sudville takes a couple shots to finish a target. Well, check repairs. Actually, I'm kind of worried about the planes. I help you. What just hit you? What just hit you? T-34. Nope. Stick. Here, tow rope. Drop Darty. And I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Okay, ready? Forward gear. I don't have the strength. I'm going to drag you to safety. Why not?
Fix me.
Well, that's not... Well, you're not alive anymore.
It's a T-34E. Use my body.
There's also a T-34 1940 in the other direction. You guys having fun up there? No, we're gone. We dead. What is this? It's like he does the opposite of what I say. How am I supposed to assist you? There's a T-34E with armor. I have a small 37 mil. I'm your emotional support locust. I was emotionally supporting you. It felt like you were just touching my butt and trying to pull me. No, I was. Do not put those HR allegations against me. I don't need to put them against you. You have video footage. I did not do anything inappropriate with that chappie. What am I, President Clinton? Okay, I got a AA back here. I was wrong. Bomb on him. Correct. Both of them are. No. I was wrong about both. Do you require assistance over there? No. I just almost ran into one. That's an aisle too. I got his engines. He does a better job in this guy than I do. What? As your emotional support, Lucas, I'm concerned about your self-esteem. So, you're a beautiful airplane that deserves great things to happen to it. Build the balloon. You did kill that balloon. That was a dangerous balloon. Didn't make it more down. Is there anything else? Is there something else I can shoot? I still got 1,000 powder if you guys need something. You could probably bomb these guys. Where are they? It's like three right here. I see that. Give me a second. I'll straighten out and get some airspeed. I'll be back. They might group up close enough. Oh, hey, there's a plane up. Well, see, there you go. You see, it's flying at us. Yeah. Okay, we're long. Well, it's on your tail. I understand. I gotta drop these bombs. It's BF. Can't tell which bomb is out. BF, I know that. It's on fire. All right, both things are dead. Get around, guys. There is a SC-152 hiding on the side of the bunker. I'll give you a mark right here. I see it. If it's shot. Oh, what now? One pushing me. That's not going to feel good. No. You got my engine? I did nothing to him. I have many problems here. I'm going for his barrel. His barrel's orange. Why is he looking at me like that? I'm not food. What is it? It's a KV-1. Oh, God. I got the cannon barrel. I'm sorry, Bear. That's fine. I was oranging. I was shooting the barrel myself. I got 36 in repair gap. What's the game plan here? And then we're going to get the hell out of here. The SC-152 is backing him up, so we're going to have a problem. Do we fall back or charge is basically the question. He's backing up to repair. Okay, the SC-152 is not aware of our position yet, right? I don't think so. So if we can slap him on the side, we might have a chance of this. So you want to take KV-1? No, back. He's well aware. I'll poke this side, I guess, and see if I have a shot. I'm not comforted by this. Not comfortably. Stick? He is, it's not good times. I'm on the way back with an M24, but I got a little bit. That's you fire, correct? Yep. Yep. That's a good shot. I dump in. Well, this is a charge. Might be below your weight class. I can do this. You just have to believe in the locust. Just probably believe. I'm about to tackle an SC-152. It's not good. Hi, big boy. That's a big gun. Just don't get in front of it. I bopped him on the nose, and it's not like a shark. It did not. I'm going to blow myself up. And circle. Stop. Not being shot by other things. Just dance. This has gone to hell. He's backing his booty. Oh, no. No, dude. Don't point that towards me. No. I survived. What? I survived. He shot me, and I'm alive still. I'm beelining straight to you. He's gonna eat me. Oh no. No, don't let him. You want artillery? If you have bombs, artillery, the Coast Guard, I'll take any help you can send this way. Suggestion. I'll drop artillery on myself. KV-1 is still here. He's guarding it. I am now their war bride. I got a critical. He drove past me. I hit him. The Achilles and the M10 are coming to help you. Oh, he's backing his. This is harassment, sir. Oh, please don't shoot me. I'm sorry I shot you. He's sleeping me. Keep dancing. Barrel aim. Please aim. Oh, he's okay. I'm gonna take. I shot the breach. I got something. Nice. He's pushing me back towards you guys. I'm heading your way. Is he Return you to the herd. He's trying to like push me to the KB1C as like, are they mates? And he's trying to like impress his mate with what he found.
I'm trying to help.
Trying to help. This is just gone to hell. I don't know what to do right now.
He's looking at me. Bo, his teeth. Bo, they're killing me.
America's in danger. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
That's what he was feeding me to. I was curious.
I'll help you get Sebastian mine. Sebastian doesn't love you, Natalie. Cassie, she was supposed to marry Sebastian in the first place. I'll have my lawyer send you the divorce papers, sign them, and go our separate ways.
Wait, Natalie, wait.
So they're in love with a ZSD 63 or whatever serial number that is, and they want to impress their mate. See? That's how nature works.
What you're saying is that you were used to make his nest look pretty so that he could get a mate.
I don't know what happened when an SC-152 rubbed its butt in my face for over 40 yards. I figure something weird is going to happen at base at night. Somebody is getting their freak on, if you know what I'm saying. I'm doing my best to find IL-2 up here.
Okay, keep him distracted.
If you got targets going out, I'll do my best to hit them.
Yep, I'm keeping eyes open.
I have 8 sea mines ready to go here. 6, I can count. I actually have to read them in. 2 on the wings and 4 underneath.
Heads are on the coast.
Alright, I'm headed that direction. You got a mark?
8-2-ish is the best I can give.
I see trees falling down. Is that where he is?
Most likely.
Up there. Up there. Good mark. Carpet bomb is away. Jungle's being deforested.
Do you have any more?
I have rockets to beat him.
Please.
Alright, head back that direction.
On my position.
There's a verbal wind chewing up everything on the backside, so it's going to be a little difficult.
Danger close.
What is that exactly?
T-34.
You know these rockets are not exactly pinpoint.
Okay. Teammate help.
Teammate, you are saved by somebody with skill. I'm going to go for verbal wind.
Roger. Ooh, the rocket sounds.
I got him.
Nice hit. A coming up from their northern spawn.
Nice kill, Bear. I just saw that.
Looking over the ridge.
I got a plane head at me from some areas. That's dangerous. I'm doing the best I can. I'm a little low and slow right now.
I don't like seeing something that big this low to the ground.
PV2 is doing what PV2 do. They think there's a plane up to our high right.
Yep.
Just watch the Helldiver. He'll be on it.
There, hits on the enemy plane. It's on the
Thank you. It's on the Helldiver.
I can only see the Helldiver. I don't see it.
My goodness. Oh no. Struggle bus is startling. I'm going to stick right next to you and Gap.
Okay.
Hi, Helldiver. What a friendly, near collisions here. He's on me.
I'm looking.
Ready, he's down.
Oh, nice job.
He's still shooting. Feel free to shoot him because he's still shooting. He's done.
Are you good?
I don't know. Yeah, that's really close. It's really close. I want to go home. There, Bear. I'm going to show you how to take care of the danger kitties.
There's a boom at close right.
I know that's a danger kitty. You got. Well, yeah. You just got. Hey, kitty. You want some catnip? A meow mix?
Meow mix?
Or you just wait for him to kill somebody and then you drive in and finish the job.
Yeah.
Did you just say
meow mix? It's the greatest treat that all the cats love.
We're taking fire on bearing 6062.
We'll get Bear being all tactical. Okay, I can use a compass. I'm going to drive up here to inspect this B-17. Is it cheap? A beaut. Hey, you know what? You can keep your hands off the merchandise until after the battle.
You find the best cover, and I want to steal that cover.
No, I'm going to sit right here. Wait, can I have to try.
Don't go inside
of it. Is fit in a B-17?
Don't go inside of it.
It fits.
Get me in there. I want to go for a flight.
No,
I don't think. Okay. I don't think it's going to work like that, though.
Well, there's
the people are fighting a war next to us.
That's
fine. System. Oh, yeah, it's right there. Hey, you, don't shoot our big brother. Whatever, that's a T-34. That's not my fight.
That is not our fight.
You're on your own. 57 mil, too.
Shall we go to A?
You want to go to A? You can go to A.
Dash down the hill, get the point, be heroes of the day.
Is it like tank sledding?
I'm gonna be hero.
Bear destroying stuff in his Canadian store trying to show up the American locust.
Who went to the low front? Panzer. Scouted it. Panzer on the bridge to the right.
Uh-oh.
Watch your right.
We're getting shot.
Before taking fire at you.
Oh, I'm gonna swerp with Serpentine. That's a swerp. What is swerping?
I got the T-34.
Warping. It's like
I
serpentine.
got the T-34.
Oh no! Stickway needs help. Barrel up. Stick, you're okay. Can I help you?
Attacking. I'm attacking. Yeah, he's on
There's
fire.
a tank right there.
Yeah, I'm engaging the target under the bridge. Ramming speed.
Oh, there we go.
Beneath the bridge, Panzer IV.
Beneath bridge, Panzer IV. Circle the wagons.
He's the one spotted, north side of the collapse bridge.
I see that. We have no attack angle yet. Oh, I see one. There's two down there. There's two pushing.
Firing.
Gabby's got backup coming down.
I got his commander, I injured his gunner.
We should swarm. We should swarm now.
I can sneak up on him.
No, he can still fire. I don't
No,
want
I claim swarm. Swarm.
No, he can't. He doesn't expect this. And I don't expect that.
No, he's not. No, he's shot. Go behind you. Go behind
He's
you.
down. He's
So
down.
behind me?
Yeah, behind you.
But, okay. Well, this is. I'm turning around. Where is it?
It's coming over the ridge line now.
Oh my goodness, the form. Did you see that dismount?
I did
The Russian judge gives it a 10. This is it's not looking good. Not looking good over here. Gentlemen?
So,
First swarmed.
promise you won't be mad.
What's the matter?
He may have just been bombed by me.
What? Don't bomb me.
And
Don't bomb me.
I am bombed. Cut to your right. Cut towards 8. Cut
No,
towards
I can kill this.
On the way. No, I'm on the way.
I can kill this. I can do it. I can do it, Father, please. Please, Father, no. I did a sweet twirl. No, Crusader, this is mine. I found him. I take claim on him.
What'd you find?
I found a Russian tank destroyer that flipped over. No. No, we save this for later. We interrogate him. He's friend, not food right now.
Sorry.
What just happened? I'm a little roasty now. Alright, Crusader. You can have one nibble, and that's it, okay? Hi, Bear. Hi. Nothing weird's happening over here. We're splitting up how we're going to eat SU. Would you like a bite? If you flip him over, that's SU-85.
Well, now he's pointing his barrel at you, so.
That's an SU-85. I'm going to gnaw on him a little bit. There's a critical. What are you trying to do to him? Actually, that helps. If you keep that up. Okay. What was that from? Is it sad I'm struggling to kill this?
Yes. Just a little bit.
Well, I don't know how to shoot it. He's so low to the ground. And I'm trying to feed Chilton through the track here.
Keep trying, you'll get it. Sumo slam.
There we go, I got it. Was that your plane, Bear? Sumo slam? Is this the revenge for taking on the F-285 that was upside down?
Yes.
I'll be leaving now.
I hit a gunner. Engines out. Bomb drops. Bomb drops. Bomb drops.
Large bomb. Large. This is not good. Speed. Hi, Bear.
Oh my god.
10.
Oh my god. You should have seen the Crusader trying to jump for his
I
life.
saw that. It wasn't pretty. Be careful. I got you. I don't. Just form stick. Maneuver.
I got the turret crew.
Hey, Beaker, hang in there. You're doing great. Yeah, you're in danger. Stick, don't just. Stick is being bullied. Hi, T-34. I'm sorry, but you've been locust swarmed. Hey, that actually worked. We gotta move.
Can I have someone head towards my way?
Are you requesting locust swarm?
Puma on me.
You just have to ask for it and it arrives.
Alright, Puma on me.
We're moving to you.
Police are
I
on
got
the
the
way.
Puma, but there's a Swedish tank destroyer there.
Copy that. We're heading with most aggressiveness.
He's going to be looking towards your way a little
He
bit.
can't handle this. Where is he?
He's off your left. He's
Oh,
behind
that's
you.
not good. I just drove past him.
He's behind.
Hi, Bear.
Hi, I'm broken.
behind me. I'll give you a comparison.
There's nothing here.
Hi. Oh gosh, I almost drove into the river. A little too much speed on the dismount. Hi, Hi, there you go.
What are you finding, Stick?
Service move smile.
There's a medium engaging with KV1.
If you guys want to swarm to the right and push in left, I think that's tactical. You just fat figured the W key, didn't you?
Don't leave me. Yeah. That was the actual cause of that problem. Stick.
My Lucas brethren are dying, Bear.
Got Lucas down. What do you mean, brethren?
Can Canada help America in this time of need?
Yes. The scoreboard says yes.
Oh, there we go. All right, so I'm going to push a little right to Gaff.
Please be careful. There's a Panzer watching Bear like it's his next
Watching
meal.
Bear? I'm next to Bear.
Well, then he's watching you, bud.
I don't want to hear that.
I don't want to go alone.
I'm sorry.
Whoa, airplane, I'm going to hide from that. Just got to be real careful about it, Bear.
Wait, car.
I don't see anything over there.
Burning oil.
I'm going to push up with you.
I'll protect you, little one.
How about I do the scout and you do the killing? How's that for a deal?
Not to see you die.
Oh, right left here? Anybody hiding? Yeah, I got something.
What do you got?
Gunner loader?
SAD.
But he's got friends.
Okay,
You go in the corner. Timeout.
Nice word.
Another one over here in the corner. I'm on the pursuit. I'm on the hunt. The locust hunt. There's a friendly T-34. I thought something's pushing towards you guys. Might be friendly, though.
Is it?
Not friendly. Chappie's down.
Nice work. I'm gonna hold your north edge.
I just took out somebody's property. It was nice architecture until I hit it with a M22.
You monster.
Okay, I'm turning around.
I've been stopped by a piece of art. There you go, Gav.
No, on me.
Locust swarm? The bear?
Locust swarm or bear?
We got to go left here. Take a left.
Puma there on the outside.
Dropping RD on it for you. We'll swarm.
Yeah, okay, the Penta 4's down. This Matilda's still there.
What are you trying to... Oh, my goodness. It's a light tank convention.
There's stuff there.
I
Shot
am
him
the
at Tilda.
evolved and stronger Locust.
It's right next to me. Oh, my goodness. Stick is gone.
I have organs inbound. So I think we just need to run.
I'm pushing it. That was a bad idea. That was a bad idea. Hi, how are you doing? You come here often? Yeah, you're a big, strong Matilda. So I count right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Panthers in my general area. 2 just crashed together. They're trading. Okay, they're right here. Panzer 3. That looks like an N. There's another Panzer 4 driving to work right there. Another Panzer sitting on the other side of that rock.
I'm just gonna draw a line from where I'm at now to there.
Yeah, I believe something's next to me shooting on the other side of this rock as well.
Yeah, Marks.
Give me a second. The guy you want to bomb is right there, that one.
Ordnance out.
I'm going to see if I can hit the Panzer IV, disable his gun.
It's gonna hit though.
He's confused. I have him baffled. Nice bomb fair.
He's down.
Thank you. There's another tank I'm kind of poking on right here.
Yeah, I got to come back.
Oh, I think he sees me. The games might be over.
Okay, where is he?
Other side of the rock you just bombed, he's facing me. It's a gray Panzer IV 2.
Other side of the rock I just bombed. I think I see him to the left, towards A.
Yeah, more towards A.
Yeah, I think I see him.
He's sitting there posting up on me. I also got a tank right beside me with him. If you can take the Panzer IV, I'll tackle the guy next to me.
Ordnance out.
I'm waiting.
10 seconds.
They look, I don't see anything. Maybe. It's a little long. But I think you have a window sneak up on him. Yep, he's looking the other direction. I am. There he goes. Breach is red. Crit. I'm making a move. Over your sides. What? I just stuck up on his 2-3G. Wait, is that a light? There's a lot of stuff over here. Okay, Panzer IV 2. He's down. He's awesome. Thank you. So I'm going to go follow that mighty convoy I saw roll past here earlier. That just jumped on A. What? Yeah, all the things I saw drive past are on A. Oh boy. I'll give you intel in a second. Okay, it's a Chappie.
Right there.
Ram. Ramming? Oh, that's... Hey, that worked. Good job, Stick. Haha. Is that a wombo combo? Does that count as a wombo combo?
I'm gonna.
I'll give it credit. I'm gonna hide behind this barn because I dropped RD on myself and it was a terrible thing. I think if I murder you, I apologize.
Well, that's why I came here.
If I could murder you?
Yeah, because it'd be funny.
And here in the wild, we have the Stoog looking for some nice berries to feast on. He looks to the left. Berries. Those are a bit dry. He looks at the right bush. It's out of season. Hey, I was doing a film over here, SMK. You ruining nature time. They were very delicious. Hi, Stick.
I was going to try to sneak a half track up behind.
Hi. Oh, you're bigger and higher in the food chain than me. Are you taking the point? Oh, I just crashed myself into a pillar.
Was the pillar taking the point?
I don't know if I'm winning this fight, but it's kind of comical.
The SMK's there.
I got him. It's all good. Locust don't need no SMK because it's a strong independent tank that goes out and kill Panzer III after crashing into a concrete pillar at a high rate of speed with no airbags. Tank left.
Got him.
That's the save. It's a terrible plan.
Go.
But somebody has to do it.
At least the Locust play.
I'm going to go through the smoke and push left.
Checking right.
Oh, I found two. Please, no. Please, that one right there. Shoot that one.
Be careful.
Got him. Panzer IV backside.
Off the right. German off the right.
That's a big barrel aim in this direction here.
Going left. I'm on the Panzer.
I'm going to hide in the corner.
Hey, bud.
Can I kill the Panzer?
Killed something.
I got the Panzer's engine.
Thank you. Where's the Sherman?
Sherman and a Swedish tank destroyer this way. Watch out.
Pushing towards you guys.
I got shot from somewhere.
That left or right?
Don't know where. I think right.
I'm going to push out to the right here and see if I can flank it, Bear.
It's Swedish. It's over here.
Hey, Bear? Yeah? I took a wrong turn somewhere.
Where'd you wind up?
They know I'm over here.
Oh, no. Hey, the Sherman's looking at you guys. I broke his track.
Excellent. Let me know he looks back your direction.
Swedish TV down the road.
Oh my gosh, I'm actually getting around them. Barry, you want some serial numbers? Because I gave serial numbers. 2 seconds.
Oh, the PV
Gunner is out on the PV. Go for Sherman.
I'm working on the Sherman.
Get that Sherman. Okay, I'm going to go for PV then. He's down. Oh, no PV. He's got a twin.
Where?
He is from your hard right.
Ah, yes, the only successful armed rebellion in U.S. history. Today we're talking about the Battle of Athens, a.k.a. the Battle of the Ballads, a.k.a. the War of McMinn County, whatever you want to call it. The fact of the matter is that in 1945 and 1946, hundreds of Americans returned home to McMinn County, Tennessee after winning World War II. Upon their return, they would discover that their local government had been corrupted. They were engaging in rigging elections. The sheriff's department was mercilessly beating innocent civilians and extorting hundreds of thousands of dollars from taxpayers, and they decided to do something about it. This story has achieved legendary status, with many people hearing and knowing about it in passing, but very few people understand how epic this story actually is. But you're going to learn today, right after word from our sponsor. This video is brought to you by Sundays for Dogs. Look, we're not going to overcomplicate this. It's basically fancy dog food that you don't have to keep like in a can, so you don't need a can opener. You don't have to put it inside of your fridge. It's made with real meat and a bunch of other stuff, so it actually kind of looks and smells like beef jerky. And I don't know. The dog eats it and it doesn't make his shit weird. So I don't know what else you want from dog food. I'm gonna be honest. This actually might just be beef jerky.
Yeah.
You want me to lock the door when I leave?
Yeah, just lock the bottom part.
It's not bad.
I'm gonna go downstairs and wait for it.
Anyways, for legal reasons, I can't
All right.
recommend dog food, but it is technically made with human-grade ingredients, and if we're being honest, it tastes better than pretty much every vegetarian MRE option I've ever had. So if you want to check it out, I'll have a link in the discount code down below. Let's get back to the video. All right, sit down, shut up. This is complicated, so pay attention. All right, our story begins in 1910 when a man by the name of Edward Crump becomes the mayor of Memphis, Tennessee. Upon becoming mayor, he sets out to build a political machine. The way he does this is he's willing to look the other way for illegal gambling and alcohol operations as long as they're willing to pay a large protection fee to Mayor Crump. He then uses that money to influence other elections, effectively having all the other politicians and judges and elected officials in his back pocket. Anybody that dares to go against him is absolutely crushed. If you're a local businessman and you don't agree with him and you're not willing to play by his rules, guess what? what? You're going to have no parking signs in front of your entire store. If that's not enough, on one occasion, he actually had the police department stand outside somebody's store and search every customer when they went in and when they left. And if that wasn't enough, he would have city inspectors go in and find out that, oh, your business isn't up to code, we're going to have to shut you down. And more often than not, there was no legal recourse because he owned the judges too. Over the course of decades, this would expand throughout the entire city of Memphis and then the entire Shelby County area, the most populated county in Tennessee, and then it would spread throughout the entire state of Tennessee. By the late 1920s, Crump was literally known as Boss Crump, the king of Memphis. What's some type of I mean, look at him. He even looks like a 1930s silent movie villain. Anyways, by the 1930s, Crump has essentially the entire state of Tennessee in his back pocket. Absolutely everybody. Politicians, sheriffs, elected officials, judges, all of it. And in 1936, he backs a man by the name of Paul Cantrell to be the sheriff of McMinn County. Now, Paul Cantrell wins by a landslide. A, because he's backed by Crump, but B, he also runs on a really, really good platform that he was going to put an end to fee grabbing. Now, at this point in time, the sheriff's department wasn't paid by taxpayer dollars. They were almost exclusively paid for by the fines that they collected. Now, that sounds crazy to us today because it is crazy for obvious reasons. You are now putting a financial incentive to law enforcement to arrest and fine as many people as possible, and in a lot of places, that's exactly what happened. So Cantrell came along and he was like, I'm going to put an end to that because it's obviously ridiculous, which is a good thing to want to put an end to. He said, you know what, I'm going to take a $5,000 a year annual salary, and that's going to be it. And I'm only going to fine and charge people and arrest people when they deserve it, and I'm not going to do it to make more money. That's a great platform and a just cause, so he wins. And then after winning, he decides, I'm not going to do that.
I lied.
So the McMinn County government steps in and is like, no, you ran on that platform. We're going to go ahead and make it a law that you're going to take this $5,000 a year salary, just like you said you would, and that's going to be that. So Cantrell ends up filing a lawsuit suing the county, and he wins because he's backed by Crump. So now he's allowed to keep fee grabbing, and he takes it to an absolute extreme. Anybody that was arrested for anything was charged a minimum of $16, and that was the fee for getting arrested, getting driven to court, being booked, going through the whole process. $6 went to the arresting officer, and the other 10 went into the sheriff's department and the court system. To put it into perspective, $16 at this point in time is about $300 today. And they were arresting anyone for anything they felt like, including drunkenness. They would literally just walk somewhere and be like, hey, you look drunk, you're under arrest. This was the 1930s. There's no breathalyzer, there's no field sobriety test. Literally, the deputy says, I think you're drunk. Guess what? You're fucking drunk. Give me $300. In the first 4 years he was sheriff, Cantrell paid himself $56,000, which is over $1 million in today's money. He also gave himself jobs that didn't exist. He was the superintendent of the county shed, earning him $2,500 a year. There was no county shed for him to be the superintendent of, but guess what? He's collecting the money. And anybody that dared to go against him would get brutally beaten, if not killed by his deputies, and they never got in trouble because the judges were part of the good old boy system. One of the primary judges involved in this was Judge Sue Hicks. And to be fair, Sue Hicks has almost nothing to do with the rest of the story, so why am I bringing him up in the first place? Well, because he's actually the inspiration for the legendary Johnny Cash song, A Boy Named Sue, and I thought that was interesting.
My name is Sue. How do you do? How you gonna die?
Anyways, moving on. Now, this goes on for years. The entire town's mad about it. Everybody's pissed off, but there's nothing anybody can do. There's no legal recourse, and if they try to stand up to them, they're just going to get the shit kicked out of them by the deputies, so everybody just kind of lives with it. But hey, the silver lining, we live in a democracy. A couple years from now, we're just going to have another election, and we'll vote this guy out. We'll get a new sheriff, and hopefully that'll be a good guy. Well, next election rolls around, and they rigged the entire thing. Now, at this point in time in Tennessee, they had a poll tax. Basically, you had to pay money if you wanted to exercise your right to vote, which sounds crazy to us today, but that's how it worked back then. And it also wasn't that big of a deal at this point in time because usually the Democrat and Republican parties were willing to pay the poll taxes for the voters to show up and vote. So basically, the party was fronting the bill for people to come in and vote. But the problem was is that you had to go pay your poll tax prior to the day of voting. So you had to go pay your poll tax and then have the valid receipt showing that you paid your poll tax and turn that in when you went to vote. But you had to pay that poll tax like months in advance. So what they would do is they would never publish or put out to the masses when the deadline to pay your poll tax was, unless you were in the know and they knew how you were going to be voting. Then they would let you know, hey, you got to buy your poll tax by this time. So they were essentially disenfranchising anybody that wasn't on their side. On top of that, dead people voted. Number, considering the neighboring County, Knox County, that had 6 times the population, had never reported more than 600 absentee ballots. In addition to that, nobody was allowed to observe or poll watch, and if they tried, they would get the shit kicked out of them by the deputies, and then they'd get arrested. So Cantrell obviously wins the next election because he rigged the entire thing. The people of McMinn County know that this is absolute bullshit. They're writing their state and federal politicians. The Department of Justice ends up launching an investigation in 1940. Nothing ever comes of it because Crump has connections in the federal government too. 1941 rolls around. Japan fucks around with America's boats. America enters World War II, and all the young men go off to war. Then in 1942, Cantrell decides his sheriff gig is too small for him. He's going to run for Tennessee State Senate, and he's going to appoint his right-hand man, Pat Mansfeld, to be the sheriff. Now, Cantrell is running against an incumbent politician, and this guy knows the ropes. He knows that Crump owns the entire state of Tennessee, and he knows that he's going to be backing Cantrell. So he pretty much immediately just drops out of the race, and Cantrell runs unopposed. The incumbent senator that dropped out of the race, a man by the name of Robert Lindsay, when asked why he didn't put up a fight, said, and I quote, "I've been elected to the state senate from McMahon, Bradley, Roane, and Anderson counties for 3 terms, each time by fair and honest methods. I might be elected again, but if I do so, it would be necessary for my friends in Bradley, Roane, and Anderson to resort to the same kinds of methods my opposition has convinced me it will use in McMahon. I do not intend to use such methods." Translation: I can't win unless I cheat, and I'm not going to cheat. So Cantrell wins, becomes a state senator. From here, he goes about making it even easier to cheat in elections. What he does in McMinn County is he cuts it from 23 precincts, 23 voting locations throughout the county, down to 12, making it so people have to travel up to 20 miles to go vote. Bear in mind, this is the 1940s in rural Tennessee. People don't have cars, okay? People are walking to voting locations. They're riding fucking horses, okay? Would you travel 20 miles on horseback or walk 20 miles to go vote in a sheriff's election? Probably not, especially if you had to pay money and you didn't know when you had to pay the money and you don't have the fucking receipt. In addition to that, now that he's cut it down to 12 precincts instead of 23, now he can have more armed thugs there to intimidate people as they go to vote to make sure they're voting the right way. From here, 1942 election rolls around. They rig the entire thing. Pat Mansfield wins. DOJ investigates, comes up with nothing. 2 years later, same exact thing. 1944, they rig the election. DOJ investigates. Nothing. It's done. September 25th, 1944, a Navy CD by the name of Earl Ford comes back home to McMinn County. He's in his Navy uniform still, just got home from the war, and he decides he's going to go out to the bar and have a good time in his military uniform. Now, to a normal person like you and me, in 1944, seeing somebody in their Navy uniform coming home to the bar, you would probably think in your head, oh, it's a war hero coming home from the war. That's what a normal, sane, decent person would think. But to the deputies of McMinn County, all they saw was dollar signs because they know that he probably has a ton of money because he's been racking up and saving the entire time he was in military service, and they're going to arrest him and fine the shit out of him so they can make money. Upon leaving the bar, several deputies decide that they are going to engage Earl by hitting him in the back of the head with a club, not like, hey, sir, why don't you come here so we can talk, not, hey, I think you're drunk in public. No words were exchanged. They just hit him in the head. Obviously, he's dazed, doesn't know what's going on. He turns around and tries to put up a fight and, I don't know, maybe defend himself like any normal person would, not exactly resisting arrest when they open up by attacking you, at which point they draw a gun, shoot him in the chest, and kill him. Obviously, this upsets a lot of people in town that they just killed a young man coming home from the war, at which point the deputies claimed that he pulled a knife on them and tried to stab him, and they were forced to shoot him. None of the witnesses that were there corroborated that. He was in a Navy uniform that didn't have pockets, so they don't know where he would be able to conceal a knife. And when they asked where the knife was after the fact, after shooting him in the chest, somehow the knife that he would have had in his hand trying to stab the police officer allegedly wound up behind him and underneath his dead body. And of course, the deputies get away with it. The deputy that shot him didn't even get fired or reprimanded because he's one of the boys of the political system, and that's the way this shit works. We make our own luck. 1945 rolls around. World War II comes to a close. All of the young men from McMinn County that went off and fought all end up coming home. And the deputies just see more and more dollar signs, right? Anytime you see a young man between like 18 to 25, that guy served in the military, probably has a bunch of money. When World War II veterans left the service, they got mustering out pay, one big lump sum, so they know that they can just arrest these guys and find the shit out of them and make a ton of money. One of the first veterans to have a run-in with the deputies is Sergeant Bill White from the United States Marine Corps. This man fought on Guadalcanal and Tarawa, and then after that went on to become a jungle warfare instructor stateside. His dad sends him over to the rationing board because it's World War II, just got over. They still have all these rationing committees. They're rationing rubber, sugar, gasoline, all kinds of things that people need. You have to have ration stamps, and everybody's only allowed to get so much. So dad sends his son Bill down to the rationing board to get 5 gallons of gas. Rationing board is like, no. And Bill's like, all right. So he goes to his buddy who had been in town longer and is like, hey, the rationing board basically just told me to fuck off when I wanted to get some gas. What's the deal? And he goes, oh, there's a deputy at the rationing board. You need to go pay him off, and then he'll wave you through, and the rationing board will give you whatever you want. So Bill goes over to the deputy, pays him $5. Deputy waves it off. He gets his 5 gallons of gas, and he leaves. And Bill watches the deputy pocket the money. Bill has no idea what the fuck just happened. He's thrown off. So he goes home and tells his dad, who was a Cav scout in World War I, this story. And his dad's like, yeah, that's just how it is here now. And his dad proceeds to tell him this story about how he was on lunch break from work and he had a bottle of milk that he was drinking out of his lunch pail. And the deputy showed up, sniffed his milk and said there was alcohol in it, and arrested him for being drunk and fined him $16, which was almost a week's pay for him. So Bill's pretty pissed off, obviously. And within a matter of months, pretty much every veteran that had returned home from the war was equally as pissed off because they were all being targeted by the sheriff's department because they knew that they had money. The deputies got so bold that they would go into bars, not wait outside for them to stagger out drunk. They would just go into bars and start arresting people for being drunk inside of a bar. On multiple occasions, they would walk into a bar if there was like a dance or a big event and just arrest absolutely everybody there. Not because they were doing anything wrong, just because they wanted to get the money. So the veterans, understandably, started to get pretty pissed off, and they would just start drinking in private. They'd have their own private parties that the deputies didn't know about, so they could hang out with their friends in peace and not get arrested all the time. So all the veterans obviously wound up becoming really close friends. They all got together, they drink in private, they'd swap war stories. There's a guy by the name of John Fry who said he became the most powerful man in France for a couple weeks when his unit overtook a cognac distillery, and he had all the liquor in France. So he was like, the most powerful guy around, wheeling and dealing with all of his booze. Carl Anderson told the story about how a German officer threatened to cut his finger off when he refused to give him his wedding ring. Tom Dooley would always bring his pet monkey that he acquired while he was overseas and somehow smuggled back home to Tennessee. Like, it was just a group of crazy, incredible men that had awesome stories that wound up becoming friends and bonded over the fact that they were all being discriminated against for their service. And as time went on, they went from drinking and discussing war stories to talking about the current political climate and how to fix it. And as they talked to townspeople, they started to realize, oh, they're literally rigging the elections. They rigged 1942, 1944, and they're probably going to rig this next one in 1946. We need to do something. So they went to the only political opposition that the Cantel Mafia had, a man by the name of Otto Kennedy, a local businessman that owned the tire shop in town, and he agreed to help them. And his tire shop became their new hangout. Leading up to the 1946 election, this group of veterans put out an ad in the paper reaching out to more veterans, basically saying if you were a veteran, and I quote, regardless of color or creed, if interested in cleaning up McMinn County and the return of good, clean, honest, and efficient government, don't fail to attend this event. Hundreds of veterans winded up showing up to this event, and they essentially pitched the idea to this crowd of veterans like, hey, look, regardless of whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or the color of your skin, we can all agree that this is fucked up and we need to restore order. We should band together and form a GI ticket, and we will run against Cantel and all of his men and replace all of them. And they all agreed, and they picked their candidates. Sergeant Henry Knox, who had served 40 months overseas, agreed that he would run for sheriff. Major Frank Carmichael volunteered to run as treasurer. Captain Bill Hamby was going to be the clerk of the court, and Captain Charlie Pickle was going to be the register of deeds. They had just selected the GI cleanup ticket, and their slogan was going to be, your vote will be counted as cast. And they chose that as their slogan because they knew they didn't need to win over the voters. Those voters would vote for anybody that wasn't part of this corrupt political machine, and the real struggle was going to be convincing the voters to show up and vote, because by this point in time, over the course of the last decade, they'd been so demoralized into knowing that no matter what happens, they're going to rig the election, they're going to take my money. If I show up, I'm just going to get harassed by armed gunmen and arrested, and then I'm going to have a target on my back. I'm just not even going to go vote. That was the real struggle. That was the hurdle they needed to overcome, was convincing the populace of McMinn County that this time democracy was going to work. They were not going to let them rig this election. These young men went across the world and fought for democracy and won. And now they came back home. They're going to fight for it again, and they're going to win again. And the veterans went absolutely ham trying to prove this to every single person in McMinn County. They literally went to every single door in the entire county and had personal conversations with every single person. Almost every person in McMinn County had personally met at least one member on the GI ticket and spoke to them in person. Felix had acquired a Piper Cub airplane somehow, and they were literally crop dusting pamphlets over the town for the GI ticket. They had trucks rigged up with loudspeakers, and they would drive around town telling everybody, show up, vote, your vote is going to count this time. And after a while, it started to work. People started to believe that their vote was actually going to count this time, so they went, they didn't vote. So they started reaching out to the bigger government. They wrote to the governor, they wrote to the attorney general, they wrote to Washington, D.C. One person even went as far as to tell the attorney general, if there's bloodshed this year, it's on your hands. And nobody did anything. As the election got closer and closer, there was really no campaigning from the machine side. They just upped the amount of harassment the deputies were doling out to veterans and anybody they thought might be friendly to those veterans. That's all they did. They were just in it to make more money. Why did they need to campaign? They were going to rig the election. They knew they were going to win. But they were starting to get a little bit nervous. So Paul Cantrell would step down from Senate, and he was going to come back to McMinn County, and he was going to run for sheriff this year. And his right-hand man, Mansfield, was going to take his spot in the Senate. And then election day came, August 1st, 1946. And you got to realize it's just a small sheriff's department. They've only got like 30 deputies. There's hundreds of veterans. The veterans guaranteed that everybody would be safe going to the polls. And these armed thugs aren't going to be able to outmuscle the veterans. There's just not enough of them. And then a literal caravan of cars came into McMinn County and Athens, Tennessee. Cantrell had brought in over 250 armed men, any men that he could find, other deputies from other counties, police departments, prison guards. They even deputized some prisoners, a lot of which were literally violent criminals. At this point, the veterans know shit's about to hit the fan because Cantrell now has 250 armed men manning the 12 precincts. They are going to intimidate absolutely everybody. So the GIs got together and issued a statement over the radio to the people of McMinn County. Quote, go to your precincts, vote, and stick around all day to hear who wins. This is not old Germany. Hitler is not telling you how to vote. Don't be bothered by any scare campaign. Cantrell's henchmen may try. You will be safe at the polls, and your vote will be counted as cast. The polling locations open up at 9 a.m., and in Athens, Tennessee, the county seat where most of the voting is going to be taking place, there's 3 voting locations, the Dixie Cafe, the Waterworks, and the courthouse. And at every single location, there is hundreds of people standing outside at 9 a.m. waiting to vote. Lines literally wrapping around the block. This is going to be a record-breaking election. And as soon as the polls open, shit hits the fan immediately. The armed thugs are intimidating everybody. They're only letting people in small groups, so they have control and intimidation. They're not letting anybody stick around to poll watch to make sure things are being done correctly. They're actively rigging the election, and everybody knows it. And then one of the deputies by the name of Wendy Wise decides he's not going to let an elderly black gentleman by the name of Tom Gillespie vote. Tom isn't putting up with it. He's put up with enough shit his whole life. He's a black guy in the 1940s in the South. Like, he's seen some shit. He's not putting up with shit from this deputy. So he's like, no, I'm going to vote. It's my right. He goes to do it, and Wendy Wise proceeds to assault him with brass knuckles, and the situation devolves to him shooting Tom Gillespie. Now shit has officially hit the fan. Thank God Tom Gillespie survives, but that's not the point. The veterans said that you would be safe if you showed up and exercised your right as a citizen to vote, and these guys have now made the veterans a liar. So the 2 veteran poll watchers that were there at the Waterworks when Tom was shot, Ed Vastel and Charlie Scott, confront the deputies. They end up arresting them and bringing them into the Waterworks and tying them up. Other veterans start showing up, demanding that they release the veteran poll watchers. Guns start getting pointed, at which point Ed and Scott decide, you know what? Fuck this, we're going to free ourselves. They get out of their ropes. Scott throws himself at the glass door, bounces right back off it, hops back up again, throws himself at the glass door again, breaks through, gets all cut up from the glass. Him and Ed run out into the crowd with their hands up, hoping that's enough to not get shot. and disappear into the crowd. Now, obviously, Ed and Scott go back to Otto's tire shop, the GIHQ, and they're hanging out there. So Cantrell sends in 2 deputies to the tire shop, which is full of fucking World War II veterans, to arrest Scott and Ed.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for them.
The veterans immediately and promptly disarm the deputies, beat the fucking shit out of them, tie them up, and throw them on a burn pile. Sheriff's Department, getting curious, doesn't hear from their deputies for a while, so what do you do when something doesn't work? Double tap. You do it again, right? They send 2 more deputies out to investigate. Promptly disarmed, get the shit kicked out of them, tied up, thrown on the burn pile with the other 2. Sheriff's Department doesn't hear from those guys for a while. That's fucking weird. Maybe we should send some more sheriffs out there to investigate. Double it! So they send a total of 4 deputies now out to a building full of World War II veterans in 1946. 3 of them get captured, disarmed, get the shit kicked out of them, and thrown on the burn pile, and one of them gets away. Cutting over to Otto Kennedy, he's been out of town all day trying to get the federal government or the state government to intervene to fix this situation. He shows back up to his tire shop. He sees 7 deputies tied up on a burn pile, and he's like, what the fuck is happening? The veterans explain everything, and he's like, nope, I'm fucking out. I didn't see anything. I don't know shit. I'm going home. You guys do whatever. The veterans then walk outside, basically on the main street in Athens. There's people all over the place, hundreds of people from McMinn County all around watching these events unfold. And they're just like, hey, who's got a couple of cars we could borrow? And these people are like, they're on the GI's side, so people volunteer to let them take their cars. They then proceed to load these 7 deputies up into these cars, drive them out into the forest, strip them butt-ass naked, tie them to trees, whip them with hickory sticks, and then head back to the tire shop. 7 down, 243 to go.
I'm sorry. Ow! I hate you. You're awful.
And while that was going on at a different polling location, the deputies had arrested 2 veteran poll watchers, Bob Harold and Tom Dooley, because they confronted the deputies for letting people vote that didn't have poll tax receipts and even letting small children vote. They promptly beat up both the veterans and took them to jail. At this point, shit has completely hit the fan. There's journalists there with cameras. The deputies are arresting journalists. They're confiscating cameras. They're destroying film. They are in full cover-up mode to rig this election. From here, the deputies illegally close the polls early. Then they refuse to let anybody examine any of the ballots in the ballot boxes. They come out with a bunch of men with shotguns and high-powered rifles, and they take the ballot boxes into the jail, and they're not going to let anybody watch the count. And at this point, there's the aura of failure everywhere. They failed. They're going to go in there. They're going to count. They're going to mess up the count. They're going to rig the count. They're going to rig this election again. The veterans failed after they guaranteed votes would be counted as cast, and there's nothing they can do about it. So the veterans go back to the tire shop. They go back to HQ, and they sit there and they wait. They just have to wait for the count to come out. They know what the results are going to be, but they wait. The townspeople are out on Main Street in Athens. They're waiting too, and it's just quiet. It's ominous. They lost. And then finally, Bob White stands up, the one from earlier, the Marine that fought in Tarawa and Guadalcanal. He's got a Purple Heart from being shot through the hip in combat. He is a jungle warfare instructor in the United States Marine Corps, and he's had enough of this shit. He stands up and delivers an impromptu speech, and I'm paraphrasing, but in essence, he essentially says, you all went overseas for 4 or 5 years of your lives and fought tyranny across an ocean, and now you're all just going to sit here in silence and live in tyranny in your own home. We're not going to put up with this shit. Go home, get your guns, and meet back here.
It seems like I went back to your father's place today. So her own family hit her.
Put some pressure on her.
The veterans get up, they go home, they come back with their guns. It's not much. They've got some hunting shotguns, hunting rifles, pistols, not nearly enough to confront the 55 armed deputies inside of that jail in a fortified fighting position. At which point, Bob decides we're going to need some more firepower. From here, they get up and they head over to the National Guard Armory. There's rifles, Tommy guns, pistols, ammo, everything they want. From here, the accounts vary widely on how many armed veterans were there. Bob White said he had about 60 men under his command, but there's some people saying that there was hundreds. There's even a couple accounts saying that there was as many as 2,000 armed veterans. I think that person was thinking the overall crowd in general, because the whole town is there watching. From here, the deputies go out, they completely surround the jail. The sun's going down, so they shoot out all the street lights so that the deputies aren't going to be able to see where they're at. Then they get keys to all the surrounding buildings, and the people of the town are willingly just giving them the keys because, like, they're overthrowing the corrupt government. Why wouldn't you help? The veterans are up on top of roofs, they're in windows, they're in all the buildings surrounding this jail. They have the entire thing on lockdown. Now, by this point, the deputies know something's up. Some of them are outside in front of the jail. They're completely surrounded by armed veterans. There's fucking 1,000 civilians watching in the background, at which point one of the veterans chimes in and is like, bring the ballot boxes out. We're going to count them all right here, right now. We're going to see who won this election. To which the deputies respond, you're going to have to come get them. Come and get them! At which point the veterans respond, all right. And all you hear is safeties on guns click off as all the deputies hear that. They run and dive for cover, and the veterans open fire on the jail. Some of the deputies get hit. They're hiding behind cars, limping for cover. The rest of the deputies run inside the jail and take cover. They start returning fire. All the civilians are scattering in the background, not really leaving the scene. They're trying to find somewhere safe because they also want to watch this shit unfold, and it's just chaos. From here, a pretty intense firefight ensues, but the jail's basically impenetrable. It's made out of brick. All the veterans are behind covers. Not a lot of people are getting hit, but some people are getting hit by ricochets, bird shot, other things like that. As this firefight unfolds, the townspeople kind of get acclimated to being in a firefight, I guess, and get a little bit more brazen and start watching a little bit closer. Some of them take it upon themselves to go and vandalize all of the cop cars and overturn them. Veterans are flipping cars for more cover. It's just a complete shit show. After a while, the initial firefight dies down and it just kind of devolves into a standoff where they're taking pop shots at each other back and forth. Inside the jail, Cantrell and Mansfield are shitting their pants. They're on the phone. They're calling up the National Guard. The National Guard's getting ready to mobilize. They call the sheriff of Polk County asking for backup. He promptly responds, what are you, fucking crazy? No, get out of here. You did this to yourself. I'm not going to go fight a bunch of World War II veterans. No. So Mansfield calls Otto Kennedy. Kennedy picks up the phone, and Mansfield, still trying to sound tough, is like, Otto, your boys are down here shooting up the jail. You need to come get them, or we're going to take care of them. To which Otto responds, all right, go get them. Hangs up.
You just hung up on me mid-sentence.
One of the veterans ends up finding out that the National Guard got called and they're going to mobilize, so he notifies the ringleader, Bob White, and Bob White is like, all right, first things first, we're going to go cut the phone line to the jail so they can't do that shit again. Also, don't tell anybody else. It's going to take hours for them to get here. I don't need you making everybody scared. Keep that shit under wraps. From here, Bob's kind of like, okay, well, the National Guard's going to show up eventually. We should probably hurry this shit up. We should have a couple of hours. Let's go get some gasoline and some glass bottles and make us some Molotov cocktails, see if we can't convince them to leave the jail. So the veterans make Molotov cocktails, throw them at the jail. It's a brick building, not very effective. Fire burns out, not a big deal. At which point, one of the veterans is like, I work for the county and we got dynamite in the county shed. You want me to go get it? Fuck yeah, I do. While they're going to get the dynamite, they go and start rendering aid to some of the deputies that have been shot. I mean, they've been laying there for a couple hours, moaning and groaning at this point. One of the veterans actually gives a direct blood transfusion to the deputy, despite the fact that he's, the enemy. It's not really his enemy. He's just doing what he has to do. And I think this is a cool part of the story where it's like, the veterans didn't want to do this. They were driven to do this. They want to cause as little damage as possible, and they're still caring about their enemy. Around the same point in time, an ambulance pulls up to start rendering aid. The veterans are thinking, okay, they've got some, injured people inside the building or whatever. We're going to let them get their injured out because, we're trying to do the right thing. We're good guys. And sure enough, Paul Cantrell and Mansfield take the opportunity to slip inside the ambulance and make a clean getaway, leaving all their henchmen behind. Nobody really realizes that at the time. The ambulance takes off. The dynamite shows up. They then proceed to blow up Mansfield's car. The crowd erupts in cheer. They love this shit. At which point the veterans yell into the jail, like, come out or we're going to start blowing this shit up. They respond with a couple of pop shots. Cool. Band 3 sticks of dynamite together, throw it onto the porch, blow the entire porch off the jail. After the smoke from that settles, the GIs yell in. The next one's coming through the window, at which point the deputies, the boss has already fled. What the fuck am I doing here? They're like, okay, stop shooting. Well, fuck it, we'll come out. The GIs are like, cool, come out with your hands up. We're all good. The deputies all file out with their hands in the air, begging not to get shot, at which point some of the GIs are like, maybe we should shoot them. And the crowd is like, fucking shoot them. The rest of the GIs are like, no, we're not fucking murdering people. Knock it off. So nobody ends up getting shot. Cantrell and Mansfield are missing. They refuse to tell him where the hell they went. They found out later that he escaped in the ambulance.
God damn it!
Now at this point, you gotta remember, there's 2,000 civilians that have been getting the shit kicked out of them for the past 10 years by these deputies and being extorted, and the crowd kind of, moves in and has their chance to return the favor, which they absolutely do. And Wendy Wise, the man that shot the elderly black gentleman earlier, got a special amount of attention.
The payback's a motherfucker, ain't it?
He did end up surviving, and he later said that there was no hard feelings.
How would I have hard feelings? I'm still picking pieces of your ass out of my boots. Good one.
So while that's going on, the veterans go inside the jail. They find a metric fuck ton of ballots that were pre-marked for Paul Cantrell. They find the real ballots. They take the real ballots out. They pick trustworthy people. They have them go count them. Then they continue searching the rest of the jail. They go back to where the actual jail cells are. There's 3 veterans in there. They break them out. And then there's 2 other people. One guy that got picked up the night before for being too drunk, and another guy that was in there for burglary that have apparently just been having the worst time of their fucking lives. They had no idea what was going on the entire time. So now the ballots are getting counted. They take all the deputies back into the jail, throw their asses in jail cells, and wait for the ballots to get counted. The results come in, the real results, and every GI won in a fucking landslide. From here, the crowd goes fucking nuts. It's a huge celebration. Everybody's happy. They've finally overthrown the corrupt government. The day is saved. After that, settles down a little bit, a lawyer chimes in and is like, okay, we can't fucking talk about any of this shit, by the way.
I don't have a clue what you're talking about, Phil. Not a fucking clue.
At this point, everybody's like, well, yeah, good idea. So, not knowing what to do with, the 55 deputies that they had inside of a jail cell, they just kind of took the ones that were messed up to the hospital, let the rest of them go, get the fuck out of our town. All of them, except for Wendy Wise, they kept him in jail, told him they were going to send him to prison as long as they possibly could. And while this is going on, Mansfield and Cantrell end up convincing the mortician in town to smuggle them out of town inside of a hearse, which is symbolic to say the least. It dawns on everybody, the work's not done yet. The National Guard still might be coming. We got to get ready. The whole town is on their side. They don't want the National Guard coming in here overturning what they deem as a just election. They've all got guns, and they're game to go to war with the National Guard to defend their right to vote. It's fucking crazy. Felix Harold takes off, gets in his Piper Cub plane. He's circling the town, conducting aerial reconnaissance, looking at all the roads into Athens and the county as a whole. And he's like, there's no major formations coming near us at all. There's not a single car on the road right now. I think we're good. The governor had already called off the National Guard, but they don't know that yet. They literally have patrols going around town of armed veterans and armed civilians getting ready to throw down for anybody that wants to overturn this election. And this goes on for days, almost a week. The veterans ended up getting word that a neighboring sheriff's department from a neighboring county was going to send troops in here to do something about it. They're like, fuck it, let's grab a bunch of guys, load them in some trucks, and we'll just drive to their sheriff's department and ask them what's up. A bunch of armed veterans show up, 50 of them outside of the sheriff's department. He's like, hey, we heard you wanted to do something about our election. And the sheriff is like, no.
No. That's not what I said.
And the veterans are like, okay, great, cool, wonderful. They head back to Athens peacefully. Everything's going fine. Sure enough, U.S. Marshals show up. The feds, they start asking questions. Nobody in town says a fucking thing about anything.
Oh, no, I ain't seen nothing. I ain't seen nothing. Matter of fact, I'm blind in my left eye. I can't even see you, sir.
The U.S. Marshals don't know what to do. Obviously, shit went down here, but nobody's talking. They've got to, figure out what the hell happened and what they're going to do about it. And then they get an idea. They're like, hey, they got the guns from somewhere. They had to have gotten all those guns from the National Guard Armory. We're going to go check there. So they show up to the National Guard Armory. Every single gun is there and accounted for. And the National Guard Armory sergeant is like,
I don't know shit about fuck.
At which point the U.S. Marshals are like, okay, these guys they're fucking thorough. I'll give them that. What about the ammunition? They expend ammunition. We know that you keep a running tally of that shit. Is all the ammunition here? To which the National Guard guy is like, no, actually we don't. You see, that's expendable. We don't really keep track of that shit here. It's, you know, it's very complicated and nuanced. But no, I don't have that information either. Sorry. Anyways, have a nice day. The U.S. Marshals are like, I have no fucking idea what to do. I have nothing to go off. So they just kind of fuck off. And then Judge Sue Hicks orders an investigation into every possible crime committed by everybody. The investigation yields absolutely nothing. He even gets the National Guard to conduct an internal investigation as to whether or not the weapons at the armory were used. And the National Guard is like, nope, definitely not used at all. Ultimately, the governor ends up stepping in. It's like, okay, just we're done with this. We're moving on. The GIs that won their elected post. Nobody ended up dying. There were no fatalities, just a ton of injuries over this entire thing. We're moving on. The only person that got convicted of anything was Deputy Wendy Wise, who shot Tom Gillespie, and he got sent to prison for 3 years. And now, with the new veteran Sheriff Knox, he announced that officials inside the town of Athens and McMinn County to make sure that they won their elections fairly, at which point all 28 remaining public officials in the county and the town of Athens promptly resigned.
You're all fired.
From here, the new sheriff's department immediately restored order to the county, with their first 3 arrests actually being veterans that had broken the law in a true demonstration of, we are not going to be another machine, we're not going to be another corrupt government, we're going to do the right thing. If you do the crime, you're going to do the time, and that's that. In addition to that, they immediately went out and put an end to all the illegal gambling and alcohol rings that had been funding the previous political machine. And that's it. Order had officially been restored to Athens. Everybody lives happily ever after. Hooray. But then, word got out to the rest of Tennessee what had happened. And you remember, machine politics are going on all over the state. And as word got out with that, you started to see more veterans organizations mobilizing and doing similar things. There were some altercations, nothing to the scale of the Battle of Athens, because, well, nobody wanted to find out because they knew what would happen. They all watched the Battle of Athens occur. And over the course of the coming years, by the early 1950s, the Crump political machine had effectively been completely dismantled, because now they knew if you fuck around too hard, somebody might make you find out. This entire story is just the embodiment of, if we all break the rules together, they can't get all of us in trouble, and I absolutely love it. Good boy, you've come to free me.
No ads, no ads, no ads. King Shot brings you endless fun without any breaks. It's totally free. Jump into awesome tower defense action. Play round after round to your heart's content and feel the thrill every time you win. Download now and enjoy hours of pure gaming joy.
Told myself this week I was just going to do a nice 3 to 5 minute video on the Battle of Bayonet Hill. Quick, easy, super short. It was going to be great. And then I Googled the guy that was in command during the Battle of Bayonet Hill, and everything just spiraled out of control from there, and it is now his video. Today we're talking about the man that the U.S. government had to order to quit leading bayonet charges against the enemy during the Korean War. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Lewis Lee Millett. And let me tell you something. This is the first picture that pops up when you Google it, and it's exactly why everything spiraled out of control. Because first of all, I mean, let's just call out the elephant in the room. That is the most immaculate face foliage I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, look at that womb broom. It's perfect. And then you look down a little and you're like, oh, hey, he's got 2 bayonets because he, fought on Bayonet Hill. That's really cool. And then you look over and you're like, oh, wow. Younger him was awesome, too, with dual pineapple grenades on his shoulders. And then it dawns on you, oh, shit, this guy's wearing the Medal of Honor around his neck, and it's like the 4th thing I noticed. Okay, do you have any idea how badass you have to be wearing the Medal of Honor and it be the 4th thing that I noticed? Don't worry, I'm going to tell you right after this ad. This video is brought to you by Zydax. Custom gaming PCs are all built right here in America with American tech support. It's what I use to do all my research and make these videos and all the copious amounts of scripture I read. Link in description. Moving on. Our story begins December 15th, 1920, when a baby would be born, presumably with a mustache, by the name of Louis Millett. He would spend his childhood growing up in Mechanic Falls, Maine, where his family would hunt and grow their own food just to survive the Great Depression. So naturally, this kid's going to grow up to be a pretty tough guy. Fast forward to 1938, he gets done with school and he wants to carry on his family's military legacy, but here's the thing, it's 1938. World War II is not going to kick off until 1939 when Germany invades Poland, and even then, America's not going to get involved until after Pearl Harbor at the very, very end of 1941. So since the U.S. military didn't have a whole lot going on at this point in time and no real big prospects on the horizon that we knew about yet, he decided he was just going to join the main Army National Guard, get trained up, and be ready in case his country did need him. So he heads out for training, goes through basic, gets that done. Now it's time to figure out what his actual job is going to be so he can head off to specialty training. But at this point in time, you didn't get to pick. But I mean, let's be real. He's an 18-year-old kid. He's rough. He's tough. He grew up during the Great Depression. Obviously, they're just going to throw him into infantry or like combat engineer, artillery, some type of combat MOS, right? Wrong. So the Army looks at his transcript from high school and they're like, hey, you took keyboarding in high school. That's awesome. We need a bunch of male clerks in the Army, and typically we have to teach them from scratch because none of the young boys take keyboarding in high school because at this point in time it's seen as like a female-related job task because it's the 1930s and like 99.9% of all secretaries are female, and those are really the only people that need to know how to type. So you already have this skill set. That's perfect. We're just going to make you a clerk. And now Millet's pissed off because he has zero interest in being a clerk. He's never had an interest in keyboarding. The only reason he took that class in high school is because that's where all the future hot secretaries were, and that mustache isn't going to sit on itself, now is it? So obviously Millet gets told, hey, the Army doesn't really care what you want. You're going to clerk school anyways. So he goes, knocks it out because, well, he already knows how to type. It's not that big of a deal. Gets back home, it's now 1939. All the news starts coming out that Germany has invaded Poland. Jewish people are fleeing Germany due to increasing mistreatment, and he sees that war is coming on the horizon. And he absolutely does not want to be stuck being a clerk in World War II. So he decides that he's going to ditch the National Guard, and he's going to join the full-time Army Air Corps, which at this point in time is the equivalent of the Air Force. So he pretty much immediately gets turned around and heads right back to training. Thankfully, he's already done basic training, so now he just goes straight to gunnery school. He gets done with that. It's now 1940, and he is chomping at the bit to get involved with this war. And Millet's absolutely the odd man out with this because Pearl Harbor hasn't happened yet, and the vast majority of America wants absolutely nothing to do with another European war after World War I. Millet doesn't just want to get involved because he's some crazy warmonger that thinks it's going to be fun. He actually truly believes that fighting in World War II is the right thing to do. I mentioned that his family had a proud military history, and it goes all the way back. His ancestors came over to America as indentured servants, where they basically worked as slaves for 7 years to pay off the debt for their voyage to the New World so that they could have their freedoms. And ever since then, every man in Millet's family has fought to preserve those freedoms. His family fought in the American Revolutionary War. Both of his great-grandfathers fought for the North in the Civil War, and now he deems it as his turn. So you see, he didn't just join the military because he wanted to fight for America. He wanted to fight for what America actually stood for. He's basically the American equivalent of William Wallace.
They'll never take
So in 1940, when the president at the time, FDR, came out in the speech and basically said, hey, America's not actually going to fight in World War II. We're just going to send over a bunch of guns and bullets and they can fight it themselves.
People of Europe who are defending themselves do not ask us to do their fighting. They ask us for the implements of war, the planes, the tanks, the guns, freighters, which will enable them to fight for their liberty and our security.
At this point, Millet's like, fuck it. If America's not going to fight, I am. He abandons his post, hitchhikes to Canada, and joins the Canadian Army. He then proceeds to go into training for a third time to become an artilleryman in the Canadian Army, gets done with that, shipped over to Britain, just in time to partake in the Blitz, which, if you don't know, is when Germany began launching air raids against Great Britain, and Millet was there the entire time performing anti-aircraft operations to help defend Great Britain. Fast forward December 8, 1941, the attack on Pearl Harbor happens. The next day, December 9th, FDR declares war on Japan, and 2 days after that, December 11th, Germany declares war on America. At which point, Millet is like, hot. Millet then then immediately makes his way to the U.S. Embassy, re-signs up for the U.S. military, and they ship him down to North Africa to take out the Desert Fox, Erwin Rommel. And you got to keep in mind, after training with the Canadians and then fighting with them for almost a year, Millett is one of, if not the most experienced combat veterans in the Army at this point in time, because everybody else is either a brand new kid that volunteered or got drafted. Yeah, if you're not picking up what I'm putting down, I'm trying to tell you he's going to have to dad dick this entire situation because he's surrounded by a bunch of noobs. For example, he would earn himself a Silver Star. Because one day, all the new guys got together and they had a brilliant idea. They had a truck that was full of artillery ammunition and grenades, and they said, you know what? We should cover it in hay for camouflage. It worked in Looney Tunes, you know? Wile E. Coyote was able to sneak up on the Roadrunner, almost, because he hid inside of a hay bale. This is going to be brilliant. So, I'm going to say it again, but slower. They took all their ammunition in the truck and covered it in hay in literally the driest region on the planet. So then the next time they get into a firefight, the tracers from the enemy machine gun fire hits the hay, catches the hay on fire because, obviously, and all the new guys are like, oh God, what do we do? What do we do? All our ammunition's on fire now. Maybe wrapping it in flammable shit in the desert wasn't a good idea. So the fire continues to grow, and then it gets hot enough that it starts cooking off all the rounds, and all the ammunition starts exploding in the back of the truck, and now it's putting everybody in danger. So naturally, the new guys freeze up and adopt the gun door defense strategy. So then Sergeant Millett at this point is just watching this utter chaos unfold like, goddamn kids. So he gets up, he runs over to the truck, jumps inside, starts it, floors it. He just takes off towards the enemy. All the ammunition in the back is exploding behind him. This is complete chaos. He gets up to speed, opens the door, and bails out and just lets the truck go towards the enemy, and the entire thing ends up blowing up. Millett then crawls his way back into the middle of this firefight, gets back to his men, and they continue to fight because he has effectively saved himself and a bunch of other people. You know, typical big beard behavior. And that's just one example. He also earned a Bronze Star when his convoy got attacked by a Messerschmitt that dropped down to do a strafing run to shoot everybody with machine guns, and everybody ran away, per usual, and he has to run over. He jumps on the anti-aircraft gun on the back of a half-track, and he ends up shooting down a German Messerschmitt, which is an unbelievable thing to pull off. He then continues to fight all the way through the rest of North Africa, pushing the enemy out of the entire continent, and now it's time for him to go fight in Italy. He participates in 4 amphibious landings at the Battle of Anzio and Salerno. Then, after 6 months of fighting in Italy and 6 months of fighting all the way through North Africa, his paperwork finally catches up to him, and the big army is like, hey, you deserted your post like 2.5 years ago. You're fired. Yeah, full court-martial, completely kicked him out of the army. Then, without leaving the office when this paperwork got signed, he's like, hear me out. Can I join the army now? And they're like, yes, you can. And since you have so much experience, you're going to be an officer. Here's your commission. You're now a lieutenant. So now Millett's kind of pumped. This whole thing was just a bunch of bureaucratic paperwork BS, and he got a promotion out of the deal. We're good to go. Everything's awesome. Then, go ahead. The only time I've taken leave is when I left my post, joined the Canadian Army so I could get to this war sooner. I'm exactly where I want to be. Take all the leave. I do not care. To which the Army is like, we're going to fine you $52. And when you adjust for inflation, $52 back then is like $1,000 by today's standards. Like, it's not an insignificant amount of money. So Millett is obviously pretty thoroughly annoyed because he's not only now risking his life to do the right thing, he's actually incurring financial penalties. But ultimately, he realizes he's not here for money, so he just goes back to work and continues fighting. He ends up spending the rest of the war fighting in Italy. After Germany surrenders, he makes his way back home, rejoins the National Guard, and then he attempts to go to college. So he gets 3 years into a 4-year degree. He's almost done with college, and then June 25th, 1950, North Korea wakes up one morning and chooses violence. They decide they're going to invade South Korea, kicking off the Korean War. Now, to be fair, most people in this situation, a veteran of the Canadian Army as well as the United States Army, and highly decorated, you would assume would probably want to finish up that 4-year degree before they go into combat again, if they wanted to go into combat at all. But not Lewis Millett. Now, this is America's William Wallace. All he had to hear is that a bunch of communists were attacking a free democratic nation, and...
Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You're going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. And then it became personal with me.
So Millett shows up in Korea. He starts working as a forward observer. If you don't know, a forward observer is the guy that goes out, finds the enemy, calls in their coordinates so that they can hit him with artillery. Millett, being Millett, calls in the artillery a little bit too close to himself and gets hit with some shrapnel. So now that he's injured... kind of has to take a deep breath, step back, evaluate the situation, come to grips with the fact that he's only mortal, and accept that he's just going to have to fall back behind the front line and recover. I'm just kidding. He demands that the Army give him an airplane and a pilot so that he can hop in this plane injured and call in artillery fire on the enemy from a fucking crop dust. And then, because that wasn't gangster enough, December 5th, 1950, a P-51 Mustang goes down behind enemy lines in North Korea. So, naturally, Millett and his pilot get up in the air. They're going to go find him. And somehow, they manage to pull it off. They land on the ground next to the plane. They pick up the pilot. The only problem, this crop dust only sees 2 people. So Millett, still injured, by the way, is like, don't worry about it. Go ahead, take my seat. The plane's going to go faster without my Titanic-sized balls weighing it down anyways. I'll just hang out here, evade capture from the enemy that's for sure looking for the downed P-51 Mustang by now. And then you guys can just come back and pick me up whenever. Yeah.
I married Sebastian for you.
How is that not your problem? Just give me my money and I'll go.
So that's what happened. They take the other pilot back. Millett evades. Capture all night long. The pilot picks him back up the next morning, and then he makes his way back, has a full recovery, and then by February 1951, he's ready to get back doing real dangerous stuff again, combat. So they give him a promotion to captain and then give him his own platoon of infantry that he's going to lead into battle. Shortly after taking over this platoon, he intercepts enemy correspondence that says that the Americans are afraid of bayonets and close quarters combat, which is the funniest communist propaganda on the planet, because all these Chinese and North Korean communists were sitting around like, man, how come these Americans have so many bullets? It's like they never run out like we do all the time. And the communist leadership's like, it's because the Americans are afraid to fix bayonets and fight you guys close quarters like men. That's why they just keep shooting you. It's definitely not because capitalism's better and it can provide them with enough ammunition to actually win a fight. That's definitely not it. Okay, and at this point in the story, you absolutely have to remember that Millett trained with and was in the Canadian Army in the very early days of World War II. And at that point in time, everybody just assumed that World War II was going to be reminiscent of World War I, a bunch of trench warfare, meaning that Millett probably trained in how to conduct trench warfare with the Canadians. And if you don't know, the Canadians were absolutely terrifying in World War I. They were absolute savages in close quarters trench warfare. These guys wrote the book on how to not only be good at it, but play dirty the entire time. They were known for taking cans of food, throwing it into the enemy trench, and then when they heard all the enemies run up to pick up the food, they would throw grenades in right after it, okay? Don't let the good manners and the accent and the maple syrup fool you. The entire first rough draft of the Geneva Convention is pretty much just a laundry list of shit that Canadians did during World War I. And that is who trained Lewis Millett in how to engage in close quarters combat, and the commies just said that he was scared of it. So naturally, he took that as a challenge and began training his entire platoon every day in how to bayonet fight. So then the next time Millett's platoon comes across the enemy, fix bayonets, charge. They do it, they completely wipe out the enemy altogether. Only problem, they wiped out all of the enemy, and now there's nobody left to tell all the communists that America's not scared of bayonet fighting. I guess we're just going to have to do it again. Fast forward a little bit, Millett, his platoon, and 2 other platoons are trying to take Hill 180. One of the platoons goes to maneuver around to a flank, and they end up getting pinned down by heavy machine gun fire. The other 2 platoons are like, oh shit, what do we do? Millett just yells, fix bayonets, and starts charging up the hill. Just takes off. There's no ready, set, go, no 1, 2, 3. He just goes. So now the platoon hurries up, bubbles around, gets their bayonets on, and they take off too, no questions asked. He's been training them this entire time. They've been around him enough to know this man's main character, and they're ready to fall into hell and back. So they start running after him. That other platoon is standing there like, oh shit, what do we do? Is that the mustache guy that already led a bayonet charge last month? I guess. So they take off as well. Millett at this point is running up this big ass hill, and he's like 60 yards ahead of his guys, and the grenades just start coming from the top of this hill. And he's dodging these grenades one at a time. He dodges 1, he dodges 2, he dodges 3. And then his men behind him start trying to throw grenades up the hill. And they throw them way past him, but they start rolling down the hill towards him. So now he's dodging grenades from behind him and from in front of him. settles, there's over 100 dead communists, 30 of them by bayonet. Now at this point, Millett needs to get medevac. He's got a couple things he has to do. First, he's A, got to make sure these men are squared away. He's not leaving until he makes sure of that. And then B, he's got to go over to what used to be the enemy commander and leave a bayonet in his chest with a letter that says compliments of easy company. So Millett gets medevac, goes back, takes about a month off, gets fixed up, heads back to his company, and then first chance he gets, he leads another bayonet charge, at which point the U.S. government steps in and is like, dude, stop. Okay, we're already naming Hill 180 Bayonet Hill. We're giving you the Medal of Honor. We can't have you getting killed in one of these bayonet charges. You're no longer allowed to launch bayonet charges. That's it. No more. You're done. Fast forward to July 1951. He gets awarded the Medal of Honor by President Truman for the Battle of Bayonet Hill. He also gets awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for the other two bayonet charges that he led. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing a little here, but when he received the Medal of Honor, he basically said, this medal doesn't just belong to me. It belongs to all of my men as well, because without the other 100 men that had my back, I would have just been some crazy guy running up the hill to my death. All right, so just to recap, he served in 2 armies, he fought in 2 wars. He has the Medal of Honor, the Distinguished Service Cross, the Silver Star, and the Bronze Star. It's probably time to
Look no further, because Raid is getting a new legendary champion for free. Me.
This is hands down going to be the longest video I've ever made. There's probably pee first. Hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, James Albert McNeese, a.k.a. Jake McNasty, the leader of the most notorious military groups of all time, the Filthy 13. And just to clarify, in case you don't know, being an anti-hero is not a bad thing, despite how it may sound. You see, the textbook definition of an anti-hero is a hero that does not display typical heroic qualities, which honestly is pretty ambiguous, but it's one of those things where you know it when you see it. For example, a regular hero would be somebody like Superman. He's invincible, he shoots lasers from his eyes, and he always does the right thing 100% of the time. He never roughs up a bad guy. He always takes him straight to jail because the justice system never messes up anything. He only has sex in the missionary position. He always changes the batteries in his smoke detectors on time. It's boring, unrelatable, and completely inhuman behavior. Anyways, then you have the anti-heroes, the fan favorites, the characters with human faults that they not only overcome but turn into their advantage. Characters like Wolverine with his bad attitude, Deadpool with his morbid sense of humor. Hell, even Batman is an anti-hero because at the end of the day, it's more relatable to do karate in your garage, dress up like a bat, and then run around town beating up clowns and dudes on steroids than it is to be perfect. Yep! So I guess what it means to be an anti-hero is that you always do the right thing, but you don't always do it the right way. And if you were to ask me for a real-life example of an anti-hero, I can't give you a better one than Jake McNeese. All right, here's the deal. Jake was born in Oklahoma in 1919. He grew up during the Great Depression as one of 10 siblings. This guy had to learn how to hunt, fish, and trap just to help put food on his family's table so they could survive. He had his first full-time job when he was 10 years old and continued to work full-time all the way through high school. After graduating, he became a full-time firefighter. Shortly after that, the attack on Pearl Harbor happened. America entered World War II. Jake, however, was exempt from the draft because he was a firefighter, but that's not what Jake wanted. Jake wanted to volunteer, and he didn't just want to volunteer for anything. Jake wanted to be a paratrooper and a demolition man. Jake wanted to jump out of a perfectly good plane behind enemy lines with a couple of buddies, be completely surrounded, and have nothing more than a gun and some explosives, and just go out there and deprive the enemy of nice things. Got a bridge? Guess what? Now you don't. Nice power lines. It'd be a shame if somebody blew those up. That's what Jake wanted to do, and that's what he was gonna do. So at the age of 22, Jake set off for training. Upon arriving at training, Jake pretty much immediately establishes himself at being incredible at any task the Army can throw at him, but also a humongous pain in the ass to his entire chain of command. During his very first week in the Army, Jake got in a fist fight with the staff sergeant in charge of the chow hall because the staff sergeant wouldn't give him butter with his bread, at which point the entire chain of command is like, on one hand, we have to get rid of this guy. He's a loose cannon. You absolutely cannot be attacking staff sergeants as a private. He's got to go. But on the other hand, This is exactly the type of behavior we're looking for somebody that we want to drop behind enemy lines and expect to fuck up everything. So they just kind of let it slide. Fast forward a couple of weeks, Jake is doing a demolition course, and he ends up setting the course record. He is the fastest person to ever complete this course. At which point, his leadership walks up and is like, "Hey, soldier, congratulations, you broke the record." Jake looks the guy in the eye and goes, "Yeah, if you think that's impressive, you should see what I can do when I have some butter once in a while." And that pretty much sets the tone for the rest of Jake's training. He absolutely crushes any task they give him, but also, Jake does not give a single fuck about the dog and pony show that is the U.S. military. He's not going to call an officer sir or man. He's going to call them by their nickname. He's not going to salute them unless they salute him first. He's not going to stand outside and salute the flag during retreat, and he absolutely is not going to show up to formation on time, and he's definitely not going to be sober all the time, because that's just how Jake is. And because of this, Jake would be the only new recruit to not get promoted to PFC, which is a way bigger deal than it sounds like, because at this point in time, in the 101st Airborne and the 82nd Airborne, every single new recruit after 31 days of training got promoted to private first class. The reasoning behind that was they wanted to give these guys a promotion so they can make more money and ideally send that money back home to their families because, well, they've got a very dangerous job coming up and nobody knows what's going to happen. So absolutely everybody is getting promoted to PFC after 31 days except for Jake. But here's the thing, Jake didn't really care. Jake wasn't there for the money. He was there for one thing and one thing only.
We're going to be doing one thing and one thing only. Killing Nazis.
So Jake is now the lowest ranking person in his entire company. Leadership was hoping that Jake would take this as a sign that he should start cooperating, carry on with him all by himself, and make him his own acting platoon sergeant. And then, as time passes, whenever they get another soldier just like Jake, they would send him over to join Jake's platoon, and he would eventually get 4 members in his platoon, counting him for a total of 5, and they would become known as the Dirty 5. And from there, things would obviously get really out of hand. Fast forward, Jake and his men finish the first phase of their training, and they are given a pass to go out on the town one last time before they have to go to Fort Benning for airborne school. So Jake and his men, his men that all outrank him because he's still technically a private, but he's also somehow their platoon sergeant, they all go out, they go to the bar, they get drunk. They end up running into some MPs. One of his men starts flipping off the MPs. The MP goes to beat him with a nightstick. Jake interferes and says, "Hey, he's really drunk, let it slide." In Jake's own words, and I quote, "He's so drunk he couldn't hit the floor with his hat in 30 throws." Okay, so just let it slide. He's going to get his men back to the barracks. It's going to be fine. The military police, the MP, then tells Jake to mind his own business as he turns
That was a bad timing.
nightstick, at which point Jake proceeds to beat the shit out
I didn't know if you had your notifications on or not, so I sent you a message saying I started a party. Is the whole fucking Samoan dynasty fucking part of Solus Koa now? Not only is Tama back, but Tama and Tonga's younger brother who stands almost at 7 feet tall.
Are some of the guys that are going to be able to pull it off. Are you in?
You got JC.
136 miles isn't a problem.
Only people who aren't, only person who isn't there is the guy that's on the Indies, Zilla.
136-mile fucking ruck march is an
Yeah.
unprecedented amount of shit talking. It's like a NASCAR driver saying that he's going to win the Daytona 500.
Yeah, but I think he might help Jacob at that point. I just want to know where the fuck was Jimmy at?
Okay, it's not possible. So then the commanding officer is like, "Great, cool, we'll see you at the ruck march. We're going to go ahead and leave you in the stockade."
Where is Roman, by the way?
Jake's like, "Cool."
We haven't seen Roman since...
Jake is in a prison uniform with a giant P on the front.
Because I know Solo's coming back for the fucking,
and they escort Jake to the starting
Ulafala.
fucking ruck march like he's Hannibal Lecter. There,
He said he's gonna come and take everything.
On a 136-mile ruck march to Fort Benning so he can go to airborne school. And sure enough, Jake is one of only 65 men to finish this.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. I just heard him say he's gonna take everything.
Which I cannot stress to you enough is a superhuman feat. So Jake and his men go on to do airborne training, absolutely no problem. Nothing really of note happens here, except for the fact that
Well, Solo called him all gas, no brains.
After completing airborne training, Jake and his men are going to go to Camp McCall, North Carolina, where they are to receive expert
I just hate how... I just hate how we had a great fucking match, and fucking CM Punk went to fucking shake his hand. Which, don't shake John Cena's hand. That was a dude. I feel bad for Charles Robinson. He didn't get clothesline. He got fucking shoulder tackled. It looked like. It's sad. Doesn't know how to leave shit alone.
So Jake and his men arrive in England. At this point, Jake has 13 men in his commune, including himself, and they all come to the same exact conclusion. English food fucking sucks, which is on par with every opinion of ever. It seemed weird to me because it's a country that took over most of the known world.
Yeah, but if you're gonna cash in, you wait until fucking your boys. No, like you send your boys out first, then you come out with a fucking rap.
And that's exactly what he does. The only difference is he has military grade equipment to do it. Jake is going out in the woods at night with a spotlight and
no, I'm just saying it's the fucking it would have been the smartest thing to do.
Fishing with explosives. Okay, they are eating everything. Couple of problems with that. One, there's strict water rationing.
Is it bad? I was watching the Karrion Kross match while watching Shotzi and Scarlett on YouTube.
Hey, we're just not going to take showers, and we're going to use all of our water rations to clean and clean this game. And because now they started speaking about the filthy 13. The other problem with that was apparently all of the game.
I wanted Kross to win so bad.
Which definitely was not Jake McNeese and the Filthy 13.
Nope.
So Sir Ernest Wells ends up figuring out what Jake's been doing. He gets super pissed.
The fact that Rand, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but because I don't know when you started watching, but the fact that Randy lined up a pump but wouldn't do it.
Where a bunch of Germans are going to try to kill me. Joke's on you. I'm into that shit. And the entire military is just kind of like
just because Cody is his friend.
Fast forward June 5th, 1944. The day before D-Day, Jake and the Filthy 13 are given a separate and extremely dangerous mission of going out and capturing.
Dude, you have a fucking title shot on the line. You said you were going to do whatever it took to win.
Troops landing on Utah Beach. And if Jake can't capture and occupy the bridge, he is to blow it up so this mission
the turnbuckle? Oh yeah. Then the turnbuckle went ribs first right into it. I honestly thought did you watch SmackDown last night? Okay. Did you watch the highlights at least? Oh, I forgot. That's why I stayed off of social media until fucking SmackDown. The fact that Naomi was gonna cash in but didn't. So Tiffy fucking used the briefcase in her advantage, which I honestly thought Tiffy was gonna lose. It really was.
Captivated by the unique and dangerous look of these men as they prepare to jump into enemy-held territory. So much so that it would actually inspire a movie to be made known as The Dirty Dozen, and Jake and his men would be none the wiser to any of it until after World War II. June 6, 1944, Jake... So
my team is different now.
Take off in C-37s as they prepare to jump behind enemy lines before the amphibious invasion of D-Day. About 20 miles from the targeted drop zone, Jake's plane gets hit by black fire and is losing altitude, and they have to bail out early.
My MLB team, so much different.
Killing some of the Filthy 13 and scattering the rest miles apart. So Jake plans he's completely ignored
No, it's newer.
So he just kind of takes off. He gets in a couple of long-range firefights with the Germans, takes a couple of them out in close-quarters combat, and he's just going around trying to find any other paratroopers to group up with. And it's going on for hours and hours, and he can't find anybody. And he's starting to think maybe the whole thing was a catastrophe. Maybe it got called off. Maybe I'm the only guy out here right now. What am I going to do? And he finally comes across one other American paratrooper, and it's a machine gunner that lost track of his machine gun during the jump. And this guy is running around Normandy with nothing but a belt of machine gun ammunition and no gun. And Jake is like, Jesus, okay, well, you're with me now, I guess. Here's my grenade.
I did too.
I'm going to keep my M1 Grand. Follow me. So now Jake and Grenade guys set up.
But at least John didn't use the title this time.
They find a squad of mortar guys. They find some guys over here, some guys over here. Slowly, Jake amasses an entire bunch of 35 paratroopers, and they're all going to help Jake in his mission.
I wonder if they're setting up Cody to win back the title at SummerSlam, and then Seth cashes in on Cody.
I need you to go pull security over on this part over here. McNeese tried arguing with the Colonel, but the Colonel wasn't having it. He gave a direct order, and McNeese is like, okay, fine, whatever. I'll take my 35 guys, and we'll go guard this for you. So they take off, headed there. They get to the point they're supposed to guard, and McNeese just keeps walking because it was the same direction as the bridge. All of his men are like, hey, we're supposed to stop here. McNeese is like, you do what you want. I have to go take care of this bridge. You can come with me. I'd appreciate it. If not, stay here and guard it. I really don't care. All of the men go with Jake and proceed to make their way to this bridge. So Jake and his men show up to the bridge. They capture it. They build up some fortified fighting positions because they now have to hold it for a day.
Yeah, I've been doing this for almost 2 hours, and I'm already bored.
They fight the Germans back every time. One day passes, no reinforcements. Day 2, they keep fighting the Germans back. Hold the bridge, no reinforcements show up. Day 3, the Germans are now on the other end of the bridge with Jake and his men over here, and it is just no man's land in between on the actual bridge. When suddenly, an entire squadron of P-51 Mustangs comes up and blows up the entire bridge. Because apparently the American leadership determined there's no way Jake is going to be successful in his mission, so they blew up the bridge anyways. Thankfully, Jake and his men will make it out okay. None of them were harmed in the blast from the P-51. Now, at this point, Jake decides, hey, we're going to continue to hold our position here, because if anybody is going to try to cross this ravine, they're going to do it right here where the bridge used to be.
Yeah.
An entire German infantry battalion shows up on the other side of the bridge. At this point, the German officers make their way through the ravine and up to Jake under a white flag where they're like, hey,
So it's going to be Tiffy versus Jade. That's going to be a good match.
The German officer, thoroughly annoyed, is like, what are you doing in that Mohawk head of yours? I have 700 men. You need to
Unless Naomi gets involved, which could happen.
Jake said something along the lines of, yeah, you've got 700 men. They're going that way, and the battlefield is that way. Which tells me that all my buddies showed up on Utah Beach, and they've been kicking your ass so bad that now you're trying to run away from them. So, the way I figure it, you've got about 3 options. Option A, you surrender to me right here. Option B, you go back to your men, you hold your position right where you're at, all my buddies show up in a little bit with a bunch of Sherman tanks and proceed to un-German engineer all of you motherfuckers. And option C, you guys try to fight your way through this ravine with me guarding it, which to be honest, I would recommend the least. I have the high ground, I have fortified machine gun positions, and you've got to make your way through a ravine first, meaning that I basically also have a moat. So, I will effectively be going medieval on your ass if you choose option C. Now, I'm not trying to tell you how to do your job, but if I was you, I would pick option A, because if you pick option B or option C, I can pretty much guarantee that the next piece of officer correspondence that you're going to get is going to be from a fucking Ouija board. At this point, the German officer storms off with his hair on fire. He's absolutely pissed. Jake then goes over to his men and he's like, hey, get ready for a fight. I'm pretty sure I just poked the bear. We'll see what happens. Sure enough, like an hour later, 700 German infantrymen proceed to take off and attempt to bum rush Jake and his men in their fortified fighting positions. Now, I don't know what you know about military tactics, but generally speaking, it is a terrible idea to run face first into machine gun fire. It's also a terrible idea to try to fight the enemy when they have the high ground. If you don't believe me, ask Anakin. But running face first into a fortified machine gun position through a moat while they have the high ground, and the men running the machine guns are under the command of some American with a Mohawk, Native American face paint, who everybody calls Jake McNasty, is literally a life.
Dude, there's no deer right here. What the fuck? So just fucking despawned a fucking rare. Just fucking despawned off my map.
Decimating the entire German battalion. On that day, Jake and his ragtag group of paratroopers were credited with removing 700 enemy combatants from the field. Shortly after that, the reinforcements from Utah Beach show up. Jake goes over to a small town. They get put in holding position for a little while. Then Jake's small group